Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have another great guest on. Now, this guest I think is great because it is a mix of, as everyone that watches the show knows, my background is accounting and finance. So anytime we get to talk about something related to finance or tax, it is of interest because I think it is a very important part of your business. Now, what also makes this even more special is he's also a tax attorney, which can shine light on another aspect of the whole spectrum of tax because it is a complicated topic in your business and you should be working with specialists, people who understand it. So I want to welcome to the show Rachel Mathews.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love your channel. I love your podcast. I think you give such important advice to business owners and the self-employed community.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. We definitely enjoy being a platform where, business owners and entrepreneurs, and even those that are running a business can gather insight and tips from learning from other people in the field. So before we jump into talking about the firm that you're a co-owner of, I want to talk a little bit about what was your background before this firm?
Yeah. So before I became a tax attorney, well, if I were to go all the way back, when I was in high school and my mom asked me what I wanted to be when I went to college, I told her I wanted to be a nun. And she said, "We're Pentecostal, not Catholic, so you can't be a nun." So I became an accountant. I thought I could serve people that way. So I was an accountant. And it was while I was working as an accountant, I decided to go to law school and become a tax lawyer because had, I didn't realize how our legal system failed to prepare and provide the resources for business owners and self-employed individuals. And really, the system in some ways was set up against them. So you get in trouble without knowing the rules. And having been an accountant and preparing tax returns and seeing too many clients get into trouble without knowing what the rules were in the first place, I just wanted to be on the side helping them and fighting for them, and also helping them navigate how to stay compliant going forward.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I must say, out of all the guests we've had what like 195 guests on the show. None of them have ever said they originally wanted to be a nun. So I'm just curious, was it like the really cool outfits or what was it about that appealed?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. You asked. You're the only person that asked me that from that story. But the truth is, you have to imagine I'm in high school. I the deep reasoning was that I just wanted to serve. I wanted to live a life of service. And I just felt like life is bigger than you, and wanted to, being a nun seemed like a life that was a life of service to others. And that's why I said I wanted to be a nun, but I'm also great at math. So I had to go back to the drawing board and pick something I was good at. But I really do love being an accountant. I do think that you do get to serve. And that's also actually why I love being an attorney. I love writing injustices. It's not a career I ever envisioned for myself, but now I can't think of anything that fits better.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, it is a great way to marry that heart of serving others because it's one of those things that I explained to some people about being an accountant. It's like your whole job is to, whether it's on the financial side, is to help make sure that people are getting very clear and information or financial information that they can trust, or if it's on the tech side, helping people understand something that they probably wouldn't understand on their own. And I imagine the same thing with being an attorney. So, what led you down kind of that path? Because a lot of, attorneys or accountants, they go the route of, working in another firm. So what led you to the path of, hey, you know what, I really want to branch off and do my own firm?
Yeah, I actually had a great mentor in law school who had advised me the best way for me, and my mentor was a founder in a large firm in Oklahoma City. And he advised me to find a one-man, two-man shop and join them, and I would be able to hit the ground running and get a lot of experience. So I actually reached out to Rod Polston, who had his own firm, Roderick H. Polston PC. He was a tax attorney. And there are not that many tax attorneys that practice in this area, which is helping business owners and self-employed individuals who are trying to fight the IRS. Most tax attorneys do estate planning and probates and wills and that type of work. So I reached out to Rod, and he doesn't like attorneys. So he did, even though he's an attorney, and he said he wasn't interested. And I actually emailed, I think it went back and forth 8 times before he grudgingly wanted me to stop emailing and said he would interview me. That's the true story of how we first met.
Wow, I love the persistence there. I mean, that is, I will say, 8 emails back and forth is definitely an interesting one. Now, I guess, had he ever afterwards explained to you why he didn't like attorneys?
He thinks that they're arrogant and full of themselves, and he didn't want, I mean, he had been practicing on his own for about 9 years at that point, and didn't want some young attorney coming in and telling him all the things he's doing wrong or how he should be doing things differently. You know, he had his own tax practice and enjoyed it, and really wasn't looking to add any more attorneys to the mix. So I would say this for any self-employed person, for anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur or has an entrepreneurial mind, always be thinking about how and where you can add value. And it might be your organization or another. I mean, I'm a great example. Rod did not want to interview me. Those 8 emails were him saying, actually, he didn't even respond. He had his receptionist respond and say, we're not interested, several times. And then when I did get an opportunity to work with him, I just focused on how I could add value every day. And he's the one who suggested we become partners just out of the blue after I was opening an office in Kansas for our firm. And he said, do you want to be my business partner? It was a great offer.
Awesome, awesome. So how did it feel going from, like I said, working, with him in his firm to then becoming a business partner of, because I would figure that the dynamics of how you thought about the firm would switch a little bit when you became a business partner in the firm. So how did that journey go?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because both Rod Polston and myself were both accountants and we're both tax attorneys. And so just naturally, I was always interested in the revenue of the firm, the profit margin, where our overhead was. So well before he ever had me ask me to be his business partner, I had already started keeping meticulous track of our overhead and was calculating our net income. So I wasn't a partner or an owner in the firm, and already knew where we were, what targets we had to meet, how many clients we're retaining, and all of those types of things that typically I would say a lot of business owners themselves don't do. And so I was already, my mind thinks like a business owner, regardless of who I'm working for or where I'm working.
Wow. I think that is very true. A lot of business owners, unfortunately, aren't really thinking in terms of, like I said, working on their business or thinking about those things of, the nature of running the business, more so doing the task in the business. So, I mean, I think that is a phenomenal thing. So, when you think about, the services that you offer through the firm, what would some of those services be?
Yeah. And, leading into the services we offer, I would say, just to add to what I was saying, I think a lot of business owners, they don't think about the finances of the business because they don't have time, right? So my dad was a business owner. He owned several businesses before he passed away. And growing up, I saw him trying to juggle all these different responsibilities of just hustling to keep the business going, have your customers coming in and doing those responsibilities. So finding additional time to sit down and do your books, particularly if you're not an accountant or don't have an accounting mind or don't like math at all, you need someone to be keeping an eye on that. Just because you're putting money in the bank doesn't mean you actually have cash flow. It doesn't mean you actually have any margin at all. And that's a mistake a lot of people do. And business owners, especially self-employed individuals, fall into this trap that we feel this is the service we offer is full service accounting and fighting the IRS, fighting state entities, taxing agencies. And what I say is every business owner, every self-employed individual is juggling all the time. You're constantly trying to figure out, okay, this money's coming in, this is going out, this is coming in, this is going out. And it's easy to lose track of the fact that you may not have a margin coming in compared to what's going out. And that's our clients end up owing taxes, not intentionally, but because they just set the taxes aside and set it aside because you have to pay payroll, or you have to pay rent, or you have to pay whatever more urgent thing it is that comes along. And you don't realize that money coming in is not coming in fast enough or in enough large enough quantity. So I get it. And I love being able to help those business owners just stay on track, stay compliant, get everything filed that they need to, and know where they're at.
Awesome. Awesome. So what are some of the services that the firm offers?
Yeah, we offer full service accounting, payroll. We started as a firm that helps clients that owe taxes to the IRS. So a lot of business owners find themselves either fighting the IRS in an audit, or having to go to tax court, or facing seizure action, or the IRS or the state trying to shut their business down. And so we get reports filed, get tax returns filed, get in compliance, deal with revenue officers. We'll go to tax court, we'll deal with the Department of Justice, all the way as high as you need to go, and at the most basic level too. Sometimes it's somebody on Social Security or who's retired and has no income. We had a client who was a widow, retired, no income, no Social Security, but the IRS was seizing her primary home that she lived in because her husband had owed taxes, and they filed married filing jointly. And so she owed taxes. So there was a personal tax lien on their primary home, and she had no income. So that was a case where we had to file bankruptcy because even the IRS hardship wouldn't protect her from having that seized by the IRS.
Wow. Wow. I mean, and, it's very interesting. I think when on the surface, when people hear about, a tax attorney, and they just think about, only big businesses need that, or only big business fall into that, and I love that you brought up, the woman that didn't have income, but because of the situation that she was in, because I often feel that not a lot of people realize that, you don't have to be a big business to fall into tax issues or to have different tax situations. So are there any other, like, say, use case or stories that come to mind where it wasn't a big business?
Yeah, I would say the majority of our clients are either single member, like a single individual who is self-employed or has a small to mid-sized business. And the reason I say that is a lot of the large corporations, they have in-house counsel, they have in-house attorneys who are going to help them. But it's that, so I've been a tax attorney with this firm now for a decade. And I would say you have all these stages of growth in any business. And as you face those different challenges of growth comes with its own revenue challenges. And as you're maybe hiring people, you've got payroll challenges, payroll tax challenges. And our clients are from one person to 100, 200 employees. We really, that's the bread and butter of the clients you're going to see that owe taxes. And if you look statistically, the IRS audits smaller to mid-sized businesses and household income less than $1 million at a higher statistical frequency than they do high income households and high income businesses. So they're going for the little guy.
Mhm. Wow. Wow. So if someone is looking for your firm, where can they find you guys online, and where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, we're Polston Tax on everything, on Facebook, on Twitter, our YouTube channel, on Instagram. I don't actually know what gets posted on Instagram, but it's all Polston Tax. And then you can also reach us at our website, which is polstontax.com, or we have a toll-free number. It's 844-841-9857.
Awesome, awesome. Now, you mentioned about, you were opening up a second office, I guess when you were asked to become a partner. How many locations do you guys have open now?
Yeah, well, now after COVID, we're sort of in a virtual world altogether, but let's see, we've got Kansas City, we have Wichita, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Norman. So 5 offices. We have employees in 6 states. So we have employees in Colorado and in Texas and in Louisiana and Arkansas, and we don't have offices there. So we really are working all over the place. But our clients are nationwide.
Awesome, awesome. Now, something I did see when I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, and it looks as though you've done, well, there were a couple of videos there. You've done some speaking in different places. What has that experience been like? Because, a lot of times when I talk to accountants or when I talk to tax attorneys, I mean, they're so deep into doing the work of their firm that they don't always, have those opportunities to speak at different events or even to create content like this. So what is that part of, how does that play a role in the firm and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Education is a really important piece of the work that we do. For me, it's just as important as getting to help the people who are already in trouble. I enjoy getting out there and helping people before they're in trouble and helping other attorneys know how to help their clients, helping other accountants know what they need to know that I wish I had known when I was an accountant, on helping clients who owe taxes. And then I speak in front of a lot of small business owners and self-employed individuals to help them stay compliant so that they don't owe. When I was in college, I was a math tutor for college math classes, and I loved doing that. I've never been an educator, but I loved doing that because I understood how frustrating it was when you couldn't understand a formula or an algorithm or whatever it was, whatever the concept was you were trying to master. And I enjoyed breaking it down and making it simple. And when I became an attorney, and really when I was an accountant too, I just found that that's an area that's lacking where people, a lot of attorneys, I feel like try to talk over their clients or make a confusing subject sound confusing. And I just think that's a misguided way to try to explain things to the public. Just make it as easy as possible, break it down as simply as possible. And I think there's a fear that if people understood the law or the accounting of it, you may lose business. But I think that's wrong. I think if we can help each other, they're still going to need you. There, a lot of people just don't like doing the accounting or the math. And I just say, like I said before, find ways you can add value. And if somebody doesn't need me because I help them save on taxes and be compliant, I would rather that be the case and they refer somebody who actually does need me when the time comes.
Awesome. And I love being able just to see, that spirit of serving from the idea of being a nun all the way through. I mean, that is amazing.
Yeah, well, I can't say my mom thinks being a lawyer is that godly, but I love it. I find it incredibly rewarding.
Awesome, awesome. Well, before we wrap up, one question that I like to ask every guest that comes on is when you think about, your background of where you've come from and the experiences that you've had and the work that you're doing now, what are 2 lessons that you would share with other business owners?
2 lessons. I would say one is to be mentally strong. I think one mistake that a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, self-employed people do is get into the cycle of thinking, okay, if I can just get past this, if I can just get past this. If your business is growing, if your business is thriving, you should always expect and embrace new challenges. They're always going to come. Some things will get easier, some things will get harder. And so it's not a matter of thinking, once I get past this, or man, I'm never getting a break. Just get mentally tough and expect that, and always be embracing the challenges. That when you get stagnant, that's when you should worry because people are passing you
Yeah.
by. And the second thing would just be to always be humble and always be learning. To never think you're the smartest person in the room, to never think you have all the answers, and to always be open to other opinions, other perspectives. Sometimes, I mean, we do this at our firm. We talk to employees who are in the middle of the work itself. You know, I focus so much on the operations at this point. We have about 120 employees in 6 states, and I can become really disconnected from the client's experience. So I say it's the people on the ground with the clients, doing the work at every level, from answering the phone to arguing in front of the Department of Justice, that they're going to know, they're going to have a perspective that you may need and may help you and help your clients. So always be humble, always be learning.
Awesome. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's definitely a pleasure to learn a little bit more about your background and the awesome work that you guys are doing with your firm, and just the amazing heart of service that you guys have for not only serving your clients, but also educating them before they get into a problem. I absolutely love that. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. This was so fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like our content, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you want to see more of our exclusive content, you can subscribe and become a member on patreon.com/Business Talk Library. Hey, the Business Talk Library is the place where business makes sense.